I almost flipped that without holding those. That would have been crazy. Hello everyone, welcome back to Foster the Meeple, a channel all about board games and board gamey things. And today's pumped up Kickstarter is on ZeroDay.exe, ZeroDay.exe from PudKat Games, who very kindly sponsored today's video. All the links, all the information, everything you need to know is going to be in the description below, so make sure that you click those links and check it out. Before we get started, this is a prototype version of the game, so some of the components will be different. Rules may change a little bit, so this is kind of the game as it is right now. It is a prototype, my friends. As per usual with my preview videos, I'm going to give you a general overview of the game and help you figure out whether or not this game is a good fit for you. So without further ado, let's dive into it and talk about ZeroDay.exe. All right, let's talk about ZeroDay.exe. ZeroDay.exe is a cooperative roguelike deck-building dungeon crawler. Each game, you will choose a unique character and play through a random operation going up against enemy AI bots that have taken over the city of Shima. Download new hacks, defeat bots to gain parts that can be used to build cyber mods or items to equip your character and complete the objectives before any of your allies are defeated. Each session, you will play through a random operation, each with its own set of objectives to complete. Your goal is to complete these objectives or defeat all enemies while staying alive. If a single player dies, you lose the game. But what does that mean? I'm glad you asked. Let's take a closer look at how the game works. Now, I just want to start by saying this game is a big boy, so I will not be covering everything. What I want to do today is just give you a very general overview of how it works so that you have a better idea. It's not an official how to play, and I'm not covering every single rule or little thing, little tidbit, okay? When you set up, you're going to choose a character, and each character will have their own unique skills, stats, and starting hacks, and they will each also have their own play style and complexity, which you can find on the back of their player board. Now, in the copy that I have in the prototype, there are 6 different characters to choose from. We have T. So you can see here their skills, their abilities are over here, rush, full counter, and then on the back, they are a complexity 1. It's going to give you a little story and their play style. Okay, so we have T, we have Sin. Okay, I'm just going to show you all of them because they're nice, bright, and colorful. We have Shade. All right, spooky. There's Shade. And we have Link, and Link actually has bots, so you'll see that they have a cat here. They have a couple of different bots, which are considered allies, so that's a little bit of a different thing. Bot box. And then we also have Kit E, all right? Now, I almost flipped that without holding those. That would have been crazy. All right, kitty's nice, bright and pink. ZeroDay.exe is played over a series of rounds, and each round will consist of 3 phases: upgrade, initiative, and turn. So let's start with the upgrade phase. Now, throughout the operation, players are going to be gaining parts which will be used in the upgrade phase. Now, there is a parts bag, which I will show you right here. And in that bag, we have a variety of different parts. Each of these parts do kind of different types of things. So this is probably a good time to mention that we do have a handy dandy reference card that is going to highlight what color for parts are going to do what things. But if you hear me refer to parts, that would be these cubies right here. These are going to be things like skills or starting hack upgrades. You can build items, build mods, and then wild. So the black one here is the wild, all right? So during this phase, players are going to follow these steps. They will download by drawing 3 hacks. So we have hack cards right here, okay? So you draw 3 hacks. So you're going to place 1 into your discard pile, because remember, this is a deck building game. So we are going to start with a starting deck. Each character has their own starting deck of hack cards. This is how we are going to be upgrading that deck and getting new cards. So you would choose one of these, place it into your personal discard pile, then you're going to place the others into the hack discard pile. Or if you would like, you can remove a hack from your hand or discard pile from the game to place 2 of the hacks into your discard pile instead. All right, so if you draw something, 3 things that you're like, woo, these look really good. All right, you have options there. Next, you can upgrade a skill, and you can do this by returning 1 clear part from the parts pool back into the scavenge bag, all right? To have each player place a tracker on the first open plus slot of a skill. So once again, if we are looking over here at the player's board, there are some open plus spots, all right? So that's how you can upgrade a skill. You can also upgrade cards. You can return any 2 parts from the parts pool back into the scavenge bag to have the player choose one of their starting cards to upgrade. Remember, we each start with 4 basic cards in our deck. You can also build items by returning the yellow part, so that's this one right here, to the scavenge bag to have each player draw 1 item. So we have an item deck over here to the side. And remember, you'll notice that a lot of this is each player. This is a fully cooperative experience, so that's why you can influence and help out and support each other. You can build mods by returning all green parts from the parts pool back to the scavenge bag, and for each one you can draw mods equal to 1 more than the number of players. Then each player may choose 1 mod to equip to their character, placing it in the mod slot below their character board with the matching icon. So we have a mods deck here. So as you can see here, we've got cooling system, SSD, upgrade simulator, and if you look at the modification down at the bottom, it's going to tell you how that influences things. So if I had selected this one as an example, it's got that little brain symbol. I'm working with limited space here, so just note that, but I would slide it beep right under here, and now my character has a build mod. And finally, gain threat. So if the players use the black, aka the wild part, they will need to gain 2 threat. If not, you could place it back in the scavenge bag and gain 2 threat. So the black or the wild part will always be returned to the scavenge bag at the end of this phase if not used, and will always force the players to gain 2 threat. We do have a threat tracker up here at the top. Then after we do that, next up is the initiative phase. So first you're going to discard any enemy initiative cards that are currently in play. We have a whole enemy initiative deck right here. Then you'll choose a hack in your hand to play for initiative, playing it face down in front of you. And after everyone has done that, you are going to draw an enemy initiative card. So let me just show you here. If you look up at the numbers in the top, that would be the initiative number. And of course, initiative is going to determine turn order essentially. So once everybody has done that, we are going to draw an enemy initiative card for each enemy type that is currently in play. All right, so we have 3 enemy types currently on the board, and I know it's difficult to see with the top down, but you can see here we have militants, cyborgs, and jammers. So they're kind of scattered, so that's 3 types. So we would draw 3 enemy initiative cards. Then we're going to place initiative tokens on the initiative track, which you can find down here at the bottom. Now, if there is a tie between a player and an enemy, the enemy will go first. If there's a tie between 2 players or 2 enemies, the player or enemy with the highest movement will go first. If there's still a tie, the players will choose who goes first. Then you're going to gain threat equal to the amount shown below each initiative token on the initiative track by moving the threat token that many spaces up the threat track. So you'll see these first 3 right here are all increasing threat. Now you'll notice along the threat track that we have some upgrades that are going to correspond to the different types of enemies, and you're probably wondering, like, there's the cyborgs are pink, why is it green? So at the beginning there are enemy dice that we're going to be rolling that are going to determine the color of the bases for each enemy, which is going to determine how we kind of move them and upgrade them and things like that. My prototype copy didn't come with those die, so I can't show you. So just so you know, we have cyborgs as green, we have the militants with black, and we have the jammers with white. So you'll see these upgrade tokens, and whenever you gain threat, if the threat tracker moves onto or passes an upgrade token, you'll remove that token and flip the next enemy level card face up for the corresponding enemy based on spawn color. So each enemy is going to have different threat levels, okay? So they will have a level 1, a level 2, and a level 3. Now there's a variety of these cards. At the beginning, you're going to select one for each level at random, and the level 1 will be placed face up, and that is just showing you a few different things for enemy attack, which I'll talk about soon. Overload. When the threat tracker reaches the last space, we are going to flip the top card of the overload deck over and then follow the instructions. So this is the overload deck right here. It is obviously not going to be super great. I'll just read this one. As an example, target software glitch. Until the end of the operation, players have 1 less range to a minimum of 1. Enemies will gain +1 target on all abilities. Yikes, we don't love that. That's not so great. All right, so that is the first phase, the initiative phase. Now, we are going to go into the turn phase. And in the turn phase, players and enemies will take turns in order from left to right on the initiative track, which was set in the previous phase, as you'll remember. So during a player's turn, they will start by getting ready. And you're going to do this by moving any processing hacks down on the processing track, removing trackers from skill cooldowns, gaining movement points, and gaining shift, which is used to rearrange your program tiles, okay? So you'll see up at the top here, we have the processing track, which is essentially going to, it works as like a cooldown. So you'll see here some of the cards, or the cards might have a processing. So when it gets played out, it would get played to, oh, you can't see because I don't have enough space. It would get played to that processing location. So basically you're using different hacks and then they need time to process and cool down. Once you're ready, you'll move into the action stage, and during this stage, players can use up to 2 actions and use any skills that do not have trackers on their cooldown, all right? So each character has 2 unique skills on their character board, which are listed right here, and these skills can be used at any time during that character's turn, as long as there is no tracker on the skills cooldown. Now, the possible actions not from their special actions, but general actions, are going to include load, which involves playing a hack from your hand onto your processing track, resolving its hack ability, if applicable. Some of them you're not going to be able to use right away. So if I were to use hiss, It has a range of 2 and is saying to deal cyber damage, okay? And then it has the 3, so it will go in the 3 spot, resolving its hack ability. You can recharge either gaining 2 shift or healing 2. You can attack using the attack listed on your character board, which is right here, targeting an enemy within your line of sight. And when enemies are defeated, I will mention, players will scavenge their robotic bodies for parts that can be used during the upgrade phase to gain mods and items, upgrade skills, and hacks, all of that good stuff. So you kill a bad guy, you get to scavenge their body for stuff and for things. And you can access. Now, when you are adjacent to a terminal, you can use this action to access it. And each terminal can only be accessed once per operation. And each operation will have specific rules to follow in order to access it. So I will kind of point your attention to the board. Now, this is Op 1 Vultures. All of the operations are going to have different setups, different like doors and things. So these are doors which you can open and close, different setup rules, all of this stuff. Everything is going to be listed right here on the board. So for Op 1, you'll see the unique objective. Pick up 3 access cards, access both terminals before the node, access the node, it's right here, and then OP rules, so operation rules. To access a terminal or the node, you must use an access card. And so for this scenario specifically, there will be access cards kind of scattered all throughout the board. I just don't have those tokens, but know that they will be on the board. So you can kind of pick those up. Pick up an access card, you must be on its space. It does not take an action to pick up. So this is giving you all of the rules and it's right there on the board for you to see. After the actions, you'll move into the draw stage, and at the end of each player's turn, that player will move any cards that is in the PCI slot to their discard pile. PCI spot is right here at the end. Move into their discard pile, then draw cards from their deck until they have 4 cards in hand, okay? And your enemies will also get a turn. So that is a player's turn. Remember, we're going to be going based on the initiative track, which means at some point enemies are going to get a turn as well. Now at any time there may be several enemies of each type on the board. Obviously right now in my current setup, there's a bunch. Okay, we got enemies freaking everywhere. So during an enemy's turn, each enemy of that type on the board will take a turn in numerical order. So you will notice that they all have different numbers on them. So we have a 1, a 4, and a 6 currently on the board for the militants. So they're going to go in numerical order, starting with the standing marked as a 1. Enemies will always follow the same turn structure. So first they will choose a target using priority. Now, first priority is whoever's closest, okay? If you're the closest, it's you. Then, if you're equidistant from somebody else, it's going to be whoever has the most life. If that's still the same, finally, it will be the first in initiative, okay? So they will always be able to choose one target through that priority list. Then they're going to move into range of their target, or at least try to. They're going to do what they can to get within range. And then they're going to attack. Now, when attacking, they're going to have an area effect, which is going to be listed on their card. So if you'll remember the threat levels, they are going to list an area of effect. They're going to list an attack, and I'm going to use this one here. So they'll have some movement. They're going to have their, I guess I'll show you this way. They're going to have their area of effect listed here. They're going to have, their movement, their range, and their damage type that they are going to be doing, all right? So when attacking, an area of effect will be listed on their card and the number of targets that they can hit in their attack. If at any time during a round all operation objectives are completed, the players win the game. If any player falls to 0 life, the operation is lost, okay? This is all or nothing, team. All for one, one for all. If one person dies, you lose. So that in a very, and I mean very general nutshell, is ZeroDay.exe. There's obviously a ton more that is going into this game in terms of like the nuances of the rules and the upgrades. There is a huge stack here of hack cards that you can go to. Like I said, all of the characters are going to be playing differently. Here are some of the different enemies. We have slicers, militants, jammers, cyborgs. They are going to be playing slightly differently. Movement, initiative, like there's just a lot kind of going on in this game. So that leads us to our question, who is this game for? Now, this is a game for fans of fully cooperative experiences. You're working together to achieve goals, you're supporting each other to ensure that you've got each other's backs. Like I said before, a lot of the things that you are going to be doing in terms of spending parts from the pool is going to benefit everyone in the group. So kind of making sure that you're optimizing that. It's also for fans, of course, a futuristic, cyberpunky, techie setting. It's got the neon vibes, it's got robots, it's got cyborgs, it's got really cool, like, futuristic characters that have special abilities. Now, it is slightly asymmetrical, of course, just based on the fact that all of the characters do work slightly differently. This game is an experience. There are many operations to play through, and like I said, each with its own objective, its own setup. There's just so much variety with the characters. There's additional game modes, so there's hard mode, there's boss mode, there's op plus boss mode, and the boss modes allow you to essentially face off against a random boss. I would definitely say it's mid-weight, leaning heavy in terms of like rule sets. However, I do want to say, even though it might kind of seem like a lot, the actual like gameplay itself isn't overly complicated. It's just it's going to take a little bit to get into. So I would say that this game is for fans of people who like that fully heavy experience where you really want to immerse yourself into a world, into a character, into an operation, okay? There is no dice rolling. There's no card flipping, so you need to be really strategic in how you fight your enemies. It's going to feature hand management, deck building, because you're downloading new hacks to add to your deck each round. You're going to be leveling up your characters during operations by, accessing terminals, raising stats. So there's a lot kind of going on, and it is a fully kind of immersive experience, like I said, with a ton of variety. Now, if any of that sounds like something that you might be interested in, I definitely encourage you to go and check out the Kickstarter page, which we linked below. I highly encourage you to watch lots of content, read different reviews to make sure this game is a good fit for you. If you are curious who my favorite characters are, my favorite is obviously Link, because there's a robot cat and she has allies, and I think that's really cool. But there's different play styles, there's different complexities. Obviously, they're a bit more complicated. My gosh, there's just so many different things to explore in this game. And like I said, this is just a prototype version. So the full version, I believe it's going to have even more characters than what I have. It's going to have more in terms of like the boss modes as an example. So there's just so much to explore. So if it sounds like something that you are interested in, definitely encourage you to check it out. If you feel like you have heard of PudKat Games before, they did also make the game Davy Jones' Locker, which I've also covered on this channel. It's pirate themed. Also a really super immersive game. So that's kind of their thing. They're making like big immersive heavily thematic games. But that is everything that I have for you today and everything that I have to talk about today on ZeroDay.exe. If you have any questions about the game, feel free to leave those in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have. But that's everything. If you're interested in buying board games, we're going to go to our friendly local gaming store. For us, that's the Boardroom Game Cafe. And if you like what you see, please consider subscribing. I hope to see you again soon. And now, I say goodbye. Goodbye. Ooh, okay, you're gonna fall. I need to put something behind you. like a vampire. Good Lord, what a mess. Let's put them back in the bag so I don't keep throwing them around. Have some and you're so whoops. Listen, you little jammer. I keep knocking everything over.